Hey, I am very sleep deprived right now because school is about to begin and I'm back in the land of America. Yeah! Let's go! Yeah, time to suffer. Pain and suffering for 4 months straight. Not gonna sleep at all. Nothing but studying. Let's go. Say goodbye to my social life. Okay, of course, every time I film myself, my roommate has to do something. So, anyways, let's flip this around and let's begin the review. Hey guys, what's up? Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And yesterday, I finally watched the new horror film Longlegs, which is a new movie written and directed by Osgood Perkins, and it is distributed by the one and only film distribution company Neon. Now, I've been wanting to watch this movie for quite a long while already. This film premiered at the USA in mid-July, but the problem is I went back to Hong Kong. And then, as it turns out, they're also premiering this film in Hong Kong, but in late August. And by then, I would have already returned to the US. Um, well, this is horrifying. And but thankfully, I was able to catch a screening of Longlegs, pretty much after I have returned. So here I am watching Longlegs with my friend. First of all, the marketing team is great. Let's get the elephant out of the way first. The marketing for this film, top notch. I don't know how much money they put in the marketing for this film, but oh my god, we have a hell of an amazing cryptic teaser trailer. We have these cryptic Instagram posts with weird symbols and shit. We have these billboards. We have this, one of the trailers shows the heart rate of Micah Monroe the first time she saw Nicolas Cage, and her heart rate went crazy. Oh my god. And then there are these like first reviews of Longlegs saying, wow, the first people who watched this film passed out and their spine got removed or their brain exploded out of their ears or something. You're gonna die in the theaters when you watch this film. Oh my god, you're gonna die. And even in Hong Kong, when Hong Kong's premiering Longlegs, they're doing this like haunted elevator thing. So obviously the marketing team is doing so much for Longlegs. It's honestly some of the best marketing I've seen in a long time. But did the movie itself hold up to the good marketing? Kinda. So Longlegs is actually just a pretty simple serial killer film. It stars Micah Monroe playing an FBI agent catching a very bad serial killer played by Nicolas Cage, who likes to like remotely kill families whose children falls on the 14th for their birthdays. And first of all, this film was really well shot. This film has stellar cinematography, and I feel like this is like one of the big things that this film sells, is that Osgood Perkins up till this point has been making kind of B picture quality horror films, nothing that really, put him on the map. But Longlegs here has amazing cinematography, great use of lighting, great framing and composition, great use of door frames and hallways. It's very moody and atmospheric. The cinematography is easily the strongest strongest element of this film. And it tries to be filmy sometimes. Sometimes it's a little camcordery. It's a little playful with its form. But I think beyond the good cinematography, there really isn't too much to like about this film. There really isn't. anything that mind-blowing. First of all, the dialogues, they're scuffed. Well, yeah, you've seen the letters. Of course, they're satanic. And, after reading it, I think they're from the Book of Revelations. It's actually Book of Revelation, no S. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they've cleared that it's Book of Revelation and not Revelations. And, thankfully, I already learned about that in my religion class last semester. But the dialogue's still easily the weakest part of this entire film, in my opinion. Not only that, but the scares are, all the scares are scares that we've already seen before. We have an eccentric mother character, a Joker type serial killer, the same 70s, 80s pastiche Christian cults. You know the drill. The film is just not that scary. Also, there are a lot of tropes that, again, I've seen it before, but it's been done again and again and again. And just because it's done a little bit more tastefully and with a little bit more production value in this film doesn't make the scares that original or anything. For instance, there are like 2 or 3 scenes in Longlegs where Micah Monroe hears a chilling whisper in the back of her house or something like this. Also, there's a scene in the middle of the film where both FBI agents discover a doll, and when I saw the doll and the eyes are closed, I was like, okay, I'm sure it's gonna suddenly open in 3, 2, 1. There we go. That's my reaction. Also forgot to mention that Micah Monroe's character is supposed to be kind of neurodivergent, maybe a little autistic, which is fine, but again, like people had to, I guess, kind of guess what her character is trying to do because sometimes he's like very cold and distant, but I understand what they're going for. Nicolas Cage's performance is really good, but I can tell that at some point Osgood Perkins realized that his character is kind of funny and just completely leaned in on the comedic parts of his character. The lore is also kind of complicated. It's like this Christian family, this trying to be satanic, and then there are dolls, and there's this transaction. And also, another complaint I have is that Act 3 just happened too fast. The ending just ended a little too fast. We have the climax of the film, and then it just immediately ends. I feel like there should be more to the ending to the film. I don't like that it just ended completely. That said, though, Act 3 in and of itself, the violent parts are really good. They're really well directed. They're suspenseful. I'm going to admit it here. They're suspenseful. It just ended really fast. Another tiny gripe I have is the editing. Sure, the editing has a lot of style, but maybe it valued style over just logic and flow because some of the editing here is a little choppy. There are multiple jump scares in Longlegs.
Go mentally deranged, yeah?
And the jump scare in question is like a flash or a few flashes of images, like Snake, but with a red filter, randomly popping up with a loud noise, and it's a jump scare, I guess. And there are also a lot of scenes with wrong eye lines, a low angle to one shot, and then the reverse is like a neutral. Yeah, a lot of those things. Also, I don't like it when the camera's zooming in, but just before the zoom completes, it cuts to another medium shot. But again, these are just small complaints. The thing is, the truth of the matter is, horror is a slippery slope. In terms of genre films, horror is a very slippery slope. And it is extremely difficult to please everyone with horror. And as someone who is trying to write and direct horror as well, I don't want to trash this movie anymore because honestly, writing horror is hard. And it is really easy for me and anyone else to just nitpick every tiny and small details throughout the film. Oh, this part isn't really that scary. That part has weird lighting and editing. This part doesn't make any sense. it's really easy to nitpick it. So instead of, looking at this film and nitpicking small things and saying why they worked and why they didn't work, maybe it's important for us to take a step back and look at the entire genre convention itself. Now, sure, there are a lot of great things about this film. The design of this film sometimes work really well, sometimes they're really creepy. The dolls, they're creepy, let's just say that. But also the black veil and the red demon eyes, that is easily the creepiest prop in the entire film. Some days in the future, I'd like to be a production designer on a horror film. But anyways, I digress. In general, though, this entire film sets itself up to be a horror film right from the get-go. Now, the opening scene is really good. It's a little jarring, sure, but I actually do think the opening scene is a great tone setter. But right after the opening scene, this entire film basically sets itself up for a conventional serial killer horror film. And I know the comparisons will never end and it's kind of tiring, but everyone's comparing this to Silence of the Lambs and Seven and even Cure for a little bit, even though Cure is like 10 million times better and more interesting. But honestly, the one piece of media that Longlegs reminds me of is actually True Detective Season 1. Now, the reason why True Detective Season 1 worked 16,000 times more than Longlegs, I think it's because True Detective Season 1 had a lot of time to sort of explore the environment and the area, and you get the point that the story is focused more on the characters rather than the crime itself, but because the crime is showed so little of it, it becomes creepier the more we explore it. Whereas Longlegs just set itself up for a conventional horror film right from the beginning, and I feel like it's sort of trapped in its own formula. Everything is cold and distant. Every pause between each line of dialogue is oddly long. The main character is cold and distant, and of course the other FBI agent is an idiot and has no idea what's happening. And we find the killer, there's this plot twist, but we kind of see the plot twist coming, and then we have the climax, but we also kind of see that coming. It's honestly not that original or groundbreaking or genre defying or anything like that. So let's take another step backwards. Why does a horror film need to be scary in the first place? Instead of focusing on, ooh, I'm gonna scare the entire audience, I'm gonna scare people with this scene and that scene, maybe good horror films are good because they're good films and not necessarily because they're scary. Maybe what we are looking for as an audience is more so original stories and interesting characters and new ways to explore the genre, new structures, instead of following the same structure with good cinematography, for example. I feel like at this point in time, we have already reached peak elevated horror. Ever since Ari Aster released Hereditary back in 2017, so many indie filmmakers and student filmmakers also try to do this artsy horror thing, including me, but I feel like at this point we have already reached peak elevated horror. Like, we can't push it too much anymore because it's going to be the plucky strings and the weird artsy jump scares all over again. So yeah, there are things that worked in Longlegs, and there are some pretty good spine-chilling moments. But then there are also other moments that just did not work very well execution-wise, and it's not that scary. Let's be honest here. I didn't come out of the theaters with my brains leaking out from my nostrils or something like that. So yeah, I'm giving Longlegs a strong 6 out of 10. So have you watched Longlegs? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.